I've gotten a little crazy and I have 8 plants that I purchased in the last week and a half. 7 of them being wish list plants that I've wanted for a long time, and 1 of them being the biggest plant that I've ever purchased from a plant store. And so I'm so excited to show you every single one of these in a little plant haul. So the very first plant that I want to show you is this Hoya quinquenervia. This has been on my wish list since I saw wild ferns. Actually, a lot of these plants are wild fern inspirations. If you aren't watching her on YouTube, she has such a beautiful plant collection and I just love her videos. But this is one that sun stresses really beautifully. So these leaves turn like a dark red when they're getting a lot of sunlight. And I have really been wanting to increase my Hoya collection this year. I think 2025 is the year of Hoya, anthurium, and moss pole plants for me. I love Hoya blooms. They're so beautiful and I would just love to have a lot of them. I have a lot of south windows in this house, and so I think I just have like a really good house for Hoya. So I'm really excited to be adding this one to my collection. This one's actually in pon, which is really interesting. I've never grown anything in pon ever. And oh, it actually looks like roots, oh my gosh, roots are coming out of the bottom. So, I am getting water everywhere. But yeah, I guess I don't know anything about pon. I don't know if that means I should repot it into a bigger thing. I don't know, but I'm kind of curious about pon. I think I kind of want to leave it. I gotta watch some YouTube videos on using pon because it's just not something I know anything about. If you have any tips, definitely leave some in the comments below. But I know that pon really allows you to have to spend less time watering your plants, and I really want a big plant collection. So I think that that could be really nice, but yeah, it's just not something that I'm knowledgeable on. I think I would have to put specific nutrients in here. So it's definitely something that I need to research if I am going to have a plant in pon. So how I ended up purchasing this particular plant was from a Facebook Marketplace listing for someone in Austin, and I saw it listed. I don't remember how much it was, maybe like $10. I can give the total amount that I spent on the ones that I got from the Facebook Marketplace listing, if that is helpful. I think it was $10, maybe $15. And I was like, whoa, I've never seen one of those Hoyas for sale in a store. That's a great price. I want this plant. And so I messaged the person who listed it and said I was interested. And she also had a little blurb that said that if there were any specific plants that people were looking for, like who looked at the listing, to message her and see if she had them. And I have a whole wish list of a bunch of plants. I don't know how many plants are on there. I'll count and I'll put it here. I've been really increasing the wish list this year. So basically I messaged her the name of every single Hoya on my plant wish list, and she had every single one of them. So this is going to be a Hoya heavy plant haul. 6 of the 8 plants are Hoya. So if you like Hoya, this will be fun. If you don't like Hoya, there are still a couple other plants that I purchased as well. Also, let me know if you'd be interested in a plant wish list video. I made one of those a couple of years ago, but it's been a while since I've made one, and I can definitely put one together for you guys. But yeah, this is the first plant. I am stupid excited about it. I'm really excited about all of these plants. So plant number 2 that I want to show you is from Facebook Marketplace. It is a Hoya multiflora. If you're not familiar with this Hoya, it is also called the shooting star Hoya because of the way that they flower. And this one actually already has a little peduncle in there. I think you can kind of maybe just barely make that out. And the person that I bought it from said that with Hoya multiflora, she's actually had it where when she roots them, they put out flowers before they even put out roots, which is a good sign in the sense that this is a Hoya that people largely buy for the flowers, not for the foliage. But I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with just a green plant. So I'm definitely plenty happy with the foliage as well. But you know, I'm really excited for it to be flowering. I think this is the plant that has been on my wish list the longest. Maybe there's only one other plant that could compete. But yeah, I wanted this Hoya for so long. I've never seen a healthy one for sale. I feel like sometimes I go to greenhouses and there are Hoya there that I really like, but they just don't look that good. And so I'm also excited to just have a healthy looking Hoya. And this was also a very good price. I don't remember the exact price of it, but everything was priced super well in my opinion. I just feel like I got a great deal to be getting all of these wishlist Hoya. I'm so excited. The next plant is this Hoya Bella. And with this one, I was kind of on the fence. I knew I wanted a variegated one. I really like it when it's the inner variegated instead of the outer variegated, but I've never grown this plant before and I was like kind of on the fence between them, and so I was happy to get whatever. And this one is in this little like hanging pot, so that's kind of fun. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this little Hoya Bella. I am also really excited that all of the Hoya that I got are very small because I really enjoy growing my plants out. I feel like I prefer small plants in almost every scenario. Obviously, I did get one plant that's huge, but I'll talk more about that once I share that one. Very exciting. Okay, next plant. The next plant I want to share with you, I guess the next 3 Hoya are cuttings. And I have this one in this little perfume bottle that my grandma gave me. It's one of my favorite propagation vessels. This is a Hoya Wilbur Graves, which is definitely a Hoya that is purchased for the leaves because the leaves are so beautiful. And I'm really excited to grow this one out. They're all just the littlest little cuttings, little Hoya plants. The quinquenervia is pretty big. I think this is one I'll want to have grow up a trellis. That's another thing I'm pretty excited to get more into this year is trellising my Hoyas, having them grow in like circles or hearts or on hoops, things like that. And it's also a big priority of mine this year to have really healthy, happy plants. If you have not watched my repotting videos, I feel like I've talked about that recently. I've been doing a lot of repotting this year and I've been fertilizing like crazy. Even though it's still winter technically, a lot of my plants are growing, and in Texas, I mean, it's forecasted next week to be 82 degrees. So it's hot here. Like, I feel like the only way that my plants really feel the winter is just that it gets dark earlier, but that's sort of counteracted by the sun being lower in the sky, and so you get more light in your house. I don't really know, but it barely feels like winter here, especially in comparison to what I'm used to in the Midwest. So I'm excited to hopefully have happy, healthy plants in 2025. The next Hoya that I purchased, I have in this little, almost like mini mason jar kind of propagation vessel, and it is a Hoya polyneura. And I think this one's like a little variegated. It's maybe got a little splashing going on, which is pretty fun. I was not looking for that. I really just wanted the dark green one. I think these look so beautiful when they're just full and lush and trailing off of something, and I could use definitely more trailing plants in my house. I feel like I have a lot of space for more trailing plants. I also have a lot of plants that are really small that could eventually trail and just aren't there yet. So maybe at some point in like a year, I'll be overrun with trailing plants. I guess we'll have to see, but this is one I think is just so beautiful. Something about it reminds me of a mermaid. Like, I almost feel like the leaf, the way it tapers down, is kind of mermaid-like to me. So very excited to grow this one out and see what it looks like. I don't know actually what the flowers on any of these look like other than the multiflora. So we'll just have to see. And the next plant to share with you, which is this was a soap dispenser that I got from Target, and then the top of it broke, but I feel like it's a fun shape for rooting plants. This is actually also a Hoya polyneura, but this one is variegated, and I really wanted both. I really love the look of both, and I remember when I sent her the list of plants, I was like, Hoya polyneura variegated, and she was like, I have both. So very excited to have both in my collection. I also wanted to point out that these leaves are so thin. I know that Hoya polyneura is known as being a very thin-leafed Hoya and one that you have to keep up on watering more often, whereas the Wilbur Graves is more of like a thick pubicalyx almost style leaf that definitely is going to hold on to water longer. So I imagine the care for both of the polyneras versus something like the Wilbur Graves are going to be very different watering wise, but we'll just have to see. I mean, I'm waiting for roots on these anyway. And yeah, if you've been following me, or if you've watched like my recent plant tour, for example, You know that I have a lot of cuttings to pot up. I took so much of my plant collection from Iowa to Texas when I moved in prop boxes, and I still have so many to pot up, plus a bunch of water cuttings. So I kind of had no business buying a bunch of cuttings. So I do need to get my butt in gear in terms of potting all of those up. I'm drowning in plants to repot. Without further ado, let's get into my last two plants, which are from Tillery Street. I didn't film a plant shopping video there this time because I went with my husband. We did like kind of a whole date night or date day experience where we went to Tillery Street. He helped pick out the plants, which was really fun. And then we ate lunch after and then came home, and it was like a beautiful day. I think it was mid-70s, so it was really quite fun. But yeah, did not film a video, so I thought it'd be extra fun to do a little haul. And my next plant, which was also a wishlist plant, is the begonia maculata. I've wanted one of these for almost as long as I've been into houseplants. I think they're so cool, and they're such a conversation starter. Like, this is a plant that when I have gone plant shopping with people who aren't super into plants, people notice this plant. Like, it's polka dotted. How could you not notice it? It's just really cool. I'm excited to have it in my house, and people can be like, whoa, what a cool plant. And it's also my first and only cane begonia. My other begonia, I can't remember the name of the growing style that it is. I'll put it on the screen because I need to look that up so I remember it, and maybe you can learn something too. But that begonia is begonia beefsteak, which I freaking love. I love that begonia so much, and I would love to get into begonia a lot more. And I thought this could just be a really great place to start. And this is one that is gonna grow up either a stake. Right now it has just some bamboo stakes in here, or I could get it on a trellis or something like that, but it definitely grows more vertically, whereas my begonia beefsteak just grows kind of in a mounding style, I guess is how I would put it. So yeah, I'm just excited to have another option. And I have this in my sunroom right now, which gets a lot of sun. And I don't know if it's gonna be too much sun for it in here, but I do have it pushed against the wall. Like, a lot of these plants behind me definitely aren't full sun plants. And this isn't either, but yeah, let me know how you care for your begonia maculata, because this is super new for me, and I do definitely need to get it out of this soil that it's in. Just, you know, your typical, I don't know where this is from. Yeah, this was ordered in from Costa Farms that Tillery Street ordered it from, which is the same brand that Lowe's often has, Walmart has, and stuff like that. So this is just like your typical Costa Farms peat mix, and I'm sure this would prefer something a little chunkier. But I don't know what soil begonias really prefer, so I'll have to look into that. And I also got this pot, which I'm going to be using as an orchid pot for my larger orchid that is behind me back there, and is about to flower, so that's exciting. But yeah, I just thought this was super, super cute. I was really eyeing it when I visited Tillery Street back in December, and they still had it, so I just really wanted to pick it up. I'm excited to get that orchid into here. One of you pointed out on my last repotting video that having my orchids in a thick sphagnum moss mixture is probably not the best for them, and I think you're right. And so I really do want to get them in something a bit more airy, give their roots more room to breathe, because I think they're probably just staying a little too wet if I want to have the optimal orchid growth. You know, like, they're still happy, they're still flowering, I think they're fine, but I definitely want the best plants I can have this year, so I will be spending the extra time to do that. And now I guess it's time for my very last plant. So get ready, because this plant is either as tall as me or almost as tall as me. It's huge. Here it is, the Dracaena marginata kiwi. And the reason that we got this plant was because when I took the thumbnail for my 2025 plant tour, I took it here in my living room and kind of filled up this entire space with plants. And I was kind of lazy when I put them away, which I put them away actually in a vlog, which was really fun. So if you want to see some of the behind the scenes of what taking the thumbnail and moving 80 plants to my living room was like, and how slowly I put them away, I'll link that in the description box below. But anyway, I was kind of lazy and took days to put them away. And in the meantime, I had all of my plants in the living room around me, and my husband commented on how much he liked having plants in here, and it's kind of dark, and so I wasn't sure how many plants I really wanted to commit to having in here, but he thought that having a big plant over here would look really, really good. And so I was like, you know what, I'm willing to try it. We'll just get something that can handle a little bit of lower light. And we were walking through Tillery Street and he saw this and loved it. And it's kind of the perfect huge plant. I'm really excited about it. The leaves are just so striking and pretty, and it looks so good in my living room. I've never had a plant this big. Big plants just tend to be expensive. Let me look at the price. I did not share prices with you. All of the Hoyas together were $56 for all of the Hoya, which I feel like was a great price. I can't remember how much the begonia was, maybe like 20 bucks. And I just checked and this dracaena was 62, which I feel like for this size plant is not that bad, but it's definitely up there in terms of how much I usually spend on plants. I feel like especially the last couple years, I was getting much cheaper plants. So this was definitely on the pricier end of how much I usually spend on plants, but for how big it is, I think I got a lot of bang for my buck. It is right next to my sunroom, and so I do feel like it's gonna get a decent amount of light. But yeah, I think it's easier to have a plant here right next to the sunroom versus kind of in the corner, which is where I have my peace lily, and it's fine so far. I also may try to swap plants out in this space so that my peace lily, for example, that's in the corner not getting any light, isn't there for an entire year getting basically no sunlight at all. I can move that to a slightly sunnier space and then take another plant that can handle the low light, move it there, and it should be fine. And that's how I am hoping to have houseplants kind of all over my house, even in low light spaces. I'm also putting in a lot of grow lights this year. This is the year of grow lights for me, where I want to have happy, healthy plants, and to do that, they need light. So grow lights it is if it's a room without big windows. So anyway, those are all 8 plants that I bought in the last week. Again, I did go a little crazy. I'm having so much fun increasing my plant collection though. I just want to have a really big, beautiful plant collection. This is my favorite hobby that I work on, and it's super fun for me to share it with all of you as well. Let me know which plant is your favorite, or if you have any suggestions for other plants I should add to my collection. And make sure to subscribe to see more plant shopping videos and all of the freaking repotting videos that are going to be coming out over the course of this year probably. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.